Hello, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Dailey coming on for social studies today. We are going to read a story together about different kinds of transportation and how that's changed throughout the years in history. And then we're going to answer some questions about our story. So let's dive right in. And while Miss Dailey is opening up her unique program, I want you to think about what transportation means. That's a really big word. So transportation is anything that we use to travel, to get from one place to another. So what do you see in the picture on the cover of our story that's a type of transportation? Very good. Yeah, it's a train, right? And other things that we could see are a school bus, a car, an airplane. There's lots of different types of transportation. So this story is called Subway Train, and it's going to focus on using the train to travel. So good listeners have their ears open, their mouths are closed, and their eyes are on Mrs. Dailey's story. So let's read together. Molly rides on public transportation. She rides on a subway train. Molly finds a subway station. The subway station is underground. So a subway train is kind of like the trains that we see on the railroad tracks, but instead of riding on tracks above ground where we can see them, like by the school, this one goes underneath the ground. So it's under the city, kind of like in New York City. If you've ever seen a movie that has a subway station, that train is under the city. Okay. Molly looks at a subway map. The map shows different lines. Each line leads to other subway stations. This picture here is a subway map, and you can see it's very important that you know your colors if you're traveling on a subway train, because they label each different train with a different color. And so if you want to know where you're going, you have to know which color train to use, and you can follow it to your stop. Okay? It's pretty cool. Molly will travel on the blue line. Molly will go to subway station B3. She is currently at subway station B1. So she's all the way up here where this red circle is, where Miss Dailey's pointer's at. And she needs to go all the way across town to this far one down here, okay? Subway station B3 is 2 stops away. The first stop is at B2. The second stop is at B3. So you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. So you can see that when she's traveling, there's these other little dots, which is where their trains are connecting, but it's not a big stop, okay? The big stops are labeled with letters and a number. And so she has to go to one stop here at B2 and then all the way down to another stop at B3, okay? Molly needs to buy a ticket. She finds a ticket machine. Molly buys a ticket for 2 stops. So she goes to this machine and she gets a ticket for 2 bus stops because we decided that's how far she needs to go. Molly uses her ticket to enter the station. She follows signs to the blue line train. Molly waits for the train to arrive. So she's reading the signs to see, yes, this is the color blue, this is what I need, and then this is the number for where I'm at right now, okay? It's very important that you check your signs to make sure you get on the right train. The subway train arrives at the station. Molly waits for the train to stop. The subway train stops and its doors open. Molly gets on the subway train and finds a seat. The subway train leaves the station. The subway train stops at station B2. This is not the stop for Molly. Molly waits on the subway train. So she gets to the first stop and she doesn't get off. She just waits because that's not where she needs to go. The subway train leaves station B2. Next, the train stops at station B3. Molly gets off the train, so you can see on the big sign, It's B3, which is where she needed to get off, so she got off the train. Molly traveled to visit her grandma. Molly's grandma meets her when she gets off the train. The end. All right, you guys were awesome readers during that. I heard you reading with me. I heard you listening quietly. I saw your eyes were on the story. Beautiful job. So I went back to the beginning just in case we need to go in and find any of our answers, but I'm going to pull up the questions so we can talk about them. So the first question says, what did Molly ride? So what was our whole story about? What did she ride? Was it a race car, a subway train, or a limo? So with your finger, I want you to touch the picture of the answer that you think it is. Great job. I see lots of friends pointing to this middle one, the subway train. So I'm going to click it and we'll see what happens.
Subway train.
And it turned green and you could hear the ding, so we got it right. Great job. Let's move on to our next question. Where is the subway station? So where does the subway station stop at? Is it under the ground, in outer space, or under the water? Only one of these was one that we talked about in the story. So with your finger, I want you to look at your three choices and see if you can find where the subway station is. Is it underground, outer space, or underwater? Great job. I see lots of friends pointing to this one with the flowers that says underground. So let's try that one and see what happens.
Underground.
Great job. We got it. All right, let's go to our next question. What does Molly read to find out which line she will take? So what does she read to figure out which way she needs to go? Is it litter or trash, a globe, or a map? So with your finger, I want you to figure out which one does she use? Trash, a globe, or map? Great job. Let's check it and see if we got it.
Map.
Great job. All right, two more questions. What does Molly buy for each stop? So what does she need to go to each stop on the train? Does she need a ticket, gum, or a pillow? What does she need for them to let her ride the train to each stop? A ticket, gum, or a pillow? With your finger, I want you to touch the answer. Beautiful. I see lots of fingers on this picture of the ticket, so let's try that one.
Ticket.
Great job. All right, let's do the last one together. You guys are on fire. Who is Molly going to visit? So at the very end of the story, who did she go see? Was it her friend, her grandma, or her aunt? Which one? Oh, I think we're a little confused on this one. I see fingers on almost all the answers. So let's go back in our story and double check. We're going to go to the end of the story. So I'm going to use my keys over here to go to the last page before the end, because I remember she saw the person at the very end. All right, let's see what the words say. Molly traveled to visit her grandma. Molly's grandma meets her when she gets off the train. Okay, I think we have a good idea now, so let's go back to our question. With your finger, which one did she visit? Who did she visit? Her friend, her grandma, or her aunt? Great. I see more fingers on the middle one now, so let's try that one, okay?
Grandma.
Beautiful job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You did an excellent job reading with me today and being a good listener. It was a very short lesson, but it's Friday, and I felt like we could just talk about trains and then maybe take a break with our parents and enjoy this nice weather, okay? I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.